Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos. Doggone it. My name is Johnboy. I'm your host, John Francis Fahey. Joining me as ever is Jack Reacharound.
Hey, wait a minute.
Aaron Josephita.
Hey, that's me.
What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Jack Reacharound.
I just want everybody to know that this podcast is rated PP Squirteen. For some coarse language, sexual themes, definite racism.
Definite.
And over there in front of me, to your left, is ASCAR racing legend Gale Squirtfart Jr.
Okay. Gale
Squirtfart
Junior.
Not
the senior.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yes, may he rest in peace indeed. That's handsome Matt Brousseau. Hello, Matt.
Hi.
Hey, sorry I talked to you while you're taking a big old swig of PP.
It was a squirt.
Gentlemen, here we are.
Been waiting for this.
That's true.
Back to Barnum.
Oh, God.
What do you remember about last time, fellas? It's been a minute.
That he's not the hero we deserve, but he's the Barker we need right now. This is the first one was Barnum Begins. This is the Bark Knight.
Yeah.
This is the Bark
Knight. He had the general, Tom Thumb.
General
and
Tom
then,
Thumb.
with the Swedish Nightingale. That's kind of where we last left off.
Yeah. He had Joyce Heth before that, and like I was saying in regard to his politics and how they would change throughout the years. He could be quite racist.
Yes.
When he was later ashamed of the Joyce Heth episode, the 160-year-old nanny to George Washington.
Yeah.
Imagine how George Washington felt.
I know, God. But he, there was a thing in London at one of the shows where, during Tom Thumb's performances, he saw a African gentleman in the audience.
An African gentleman.
Yes, who was pretty bejeweled and bedazzled.
Ooh.
And
was it Diddy?
He deliberately had Tom perform kind of a racist song just to watch this guy squirm.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And on the way back,
we got a clip, right? We got that little song.
Who knows what this little guy was up there saying?
My surfboard's whack.
But on the way home, he said, "Black guys love jewels." He didn't say black guys, though. You know how that goes.
And Tom Thumb didn't say that.
No.
Okay.
PT said it.
Tom Thumb said, "Black guys."
But he made that remark to those Scottish guys I told you, that abolitionists were insufferable.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of his touring throughout the country is what led him to change his mind on slavery and the treatment of blacks in America. And by the time you're getting towards the Civil War, he's very anti-slavery.
But he's not all abolitionist about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he really is, and actually, a lot of that is informed also by his wife's distaste for the practice. And I didn't really talk about his wife too much in the first episode. Her name was Charity. She bore him 4 children, and she would always be kind of a sickly woman, and very much back then all they could prescribe for you was the air.
Yeah, and a fainting couch.
With laudanum.
Yeah, they're like, get near the ocean and breathe.
Yeah, get some good, get that good air.
Yeah, no one near the ocean's getting sick.
And so on a lot of his travels, she couldn't go. And it was kind of a thing where it was even a joke with some of his oldest daughters, which Barnum was, he was really tight with them, but they all kind of rolled their eyes oh, Mom, she's always fucking sick and stuff. But during his Tom Thumb tour in Europe, he lost a child, and then he sent home to get all of them, and he was like, well, I'm at least going to bring them all over here so we can kind of all grieve together.
Right, so one of the 4 died. He ships 4 over to join him. Let the mother of those children languish alone?
Oh, no, she came.
Oh, good.
This is,
okay.
On this travel, that was, they kind of learned, it's not really for her, that kind of thing. But, he's got the museum. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
and he's really riding high after the Lind performances.
Mhm.
He's really made a lot of money from that, and like I said, they always got along very well. And her caretakers were always like, no matter how many times we renegotiated the contract in favor of Lind, he always signed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's like, and they were like, I really know he's not trying to screw her over at all.
And he was also donating money on the side.
Yes,
in her name.
Yes, and more than her.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's Jenny Lind. So then, like I said, he was changing minds about the theater. You know, making it safe for families to go to because they were rowdy, bawdy,
Raucous.
Yeah, but that would even include then, like I said, the theater community was kind of threatened by that a little bit because it would,
Mhm.
you know, if he was doing, Shakespeare, he would even take out what he thought were not family-friendly things. So then they were like,
Oh, okay.
well, you're kind of diluting the theater then.
He's
So-
like, Othello? Black guy? Changing it.
Tom Thumb, you're in.
All right.
And so the first performance that he put on was a play called The Drunkard about this guy, and this is showing that his personal feelings towards temperance.
And did he write it, or he contracted somebody to write it?
No, it was already written, but it was a thin temperance, But it's like, the guy loses his family, they come back and they get him, they make him take the temperance pledge, and then all is right in the world at the end. So
Yeah.
it was kind of moralistic, feel-good theater, which is interesting for a guy that is kind of known for fraudulent things and exploitation
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But it's interesting how he could put his finger on the pulse and see what people really wanted and what would make money. And like we said, attract those middle-class people that have the money to spend.
Yeah.
And they don't want to take their kids into the city and have it be a fucking debauched...
Yeah, they're throwing tomatoes and whole cabbages at the
Yeah.
performers,
Yeah. Some of them are eating them too. It's,
Because they have to.
yeah.
But yeah, and then they would do like Uncle Tom's Cabin, Shakespearean works, like I said. There would be beauty contests, all kinds of things happening at the museum. There was a lot of...
Were these plays happening at the museum, or these were plays
Yeah,
that he would
yeah.
just put on separately at the
No, there was a theater in the museum.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like I said, it was just that one flat fee, and you could go see everything in the museum, and like whatever freaks are going to be in the theater, whatever show's going to be in the theater.
It's like the first days of AOL. And it's like, all right, you got these like 12 channels.
Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah, you've got mail.
Yeah.
And then you've got kids,
Mm-hmm.
science, potpourri.
Old men pretending to be 16-year-old girls.
Hey, 16-year-old girls pretending to be old men.
Mhm.
I think I might have touched on he wrote his autobiography around 40,
Mm-hmm. You did.
and he's just getting started. You know what I mean? But like I said, his father died not much older than he was at that time, and he had already been through so much. I mean, he met all the fucking royalty in Europe, for Christ's sake,
Charm the pants off of the queen.
Yeah.
Mhm. And he wrote this book that Mark Twain loved, and it was very much like it showed his gift as a speaker. It was written very plainly,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of other people, like in the British press, called it trashy and offensive, and wrote that it inspired nothing but sensations of disgust and sincere pity for the wretched man who compiled
Oh
it.
my god! And what was this book?
It was his autobiography.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh shit! But Twain loved it.
Twain loved it, but he would never publicly say it, which killed Barnum. Because
Mhm.
he would meet him, what's his name? Clemens?
Samuel Clemens.
Yeah, he would meet him privately, and,
Mhm.
and he would tell Barnum this, and Barnum was like, please say it in print somewhere, And he was like, no, because I think he didn't really want to shake the Mark Twain persona.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's developing East Bridgeport, Connecticut, right? And he's, investing, a lot of money there and creating specific things about like how the town should be, how it should look, how far the building should be from the street, all this kind of stuff. But he's putting a lot of his personal fortune into it.
Into this community,
Yes, it's basically,
planned community.
I guess it's a separate city from Bridgeport proper,
Okay.
East Bridgeport. And he tried to get this Jerome Clock Company from, I think, Massachusetts to relocate there. And that was a bit of a swindle on the part of the owner,
A clock company?
a clock company, and he wanted to bring industry into this new town that he's developing of East Bridgeport. And he invested in a whole bunch of other harebrained schemes, like this thing called the Fire Annihilator.
Cool.
It's a tank of water.
Yeah.
It was like a steam-based thing and stuff like that. And he got out of it, but before, he'd already sunk a lot of money into it. And then later on, the Fire Annihilator factory caught fire.
Cool.
Oh.
And he
It was annihilated.
it was near a river, and ships going by would see the Annihilators exploding with all this steam. It was a real fucking mess.
That's a show. That's a good show, though. Theater can't do that.
He started charging the boats going by. Might as well make a fucking buck.
He did create this insane mansion that he called Iranistan, and and had a lot of what you would call Oriental designs in it and stuff.
Arabesques.
Yeah. But it was this big, beautiful estate, and they had servants and all that kind of stuff. But all of these things just piled up, and he was bankrupt. And you have to understand, at this time, he's like the only non-political figure that would be this famous on both sides of the Atlantic. He's so huge, and to be ruined, so publicly.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
And you're pretty much people have very firm opinions about you one way or the other if you're P.T. Barnum.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure, yeah.
The guy from the New York Herald, like I said, he fucking hated him. And really gave it to him any chance he could. And some other people were happy to see him go down too, like Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said that basically it was the interference from the gods.
Divine intervention.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to. When you go for a walk, you're supposed to find nothing, not a circus.
Come on, man.
How can I relax?
And so he really he had to really kind of eat it, and he really saw how much people would suddenly pretend not to really know him, or what's going on over there, you know what I mean, like when he starts walking down the street and stuff like that. And he takes it all in pretty good humor, but it really did shake him. He did protect some things in the run up to it. He saw his fortune dwindling, saw where everything was headed, and he sold the museum for $1 to his partner, who then sold it to his wife for $1. So it would keep the museum in his possession.
The thing is, she's sick, and she left it to him in the will. She died, and now it's his again. Bank takes it.
But the thing I thought was just it really, he's so busy all of the time, right? And there's always like a million other things going on. Like even in the first episode, I didn't tell you about fucking half the other shit. He had people spinning plates. He had fucking a little dwarf in a little machine that he pretended was a computer that played chess.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
That's
It was fake automatons.
Yes.
Yes.
But it was just a guy who could a little guy who could play
pretty good at chess. Yeah.
That must have been another European thing that he gobbled up.
Yeah.
That honestly is brilliant.
It is, absolutely.
It is.
Do you think that's what ChatGPT is?
Yeah,
probably.
Just a little guy in my computer.
Yeah.
There's just a guy at a desk.
Yeah. And
Away.
he's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's really getting licked, and like I said, people are coming out publicly to say it's about time that he got what he deserved. Oh, but the other side of this thing is, you just see him doing stuff at people, and you're like, that he's tantalizing people. He's titillating.
Yeah.
Even
scandalizing.
But you didn't really know how everybody really felt about him, and it just dude, there was this huge outpouring of the city, just they all donated all this money to him. Vanderbilt's came out.
Portview?
No, Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Manhattan. Yeah. The city really came out and really showed up for him. Vanderbilt came out, and people they wrote public letters saying we want to say you didn't understand that the man had become an institution of the city,
right?
And
through his own, not because of bad luck, but because of his own mismanagement of money, he went bankrupt.
Yeah,
and still people were like, "We gotta help out the rich guy."
They did.
Well, he entertained them,
and a lot of this he didn't really take, but just the outpouring really it really got me deep. And then the thing that really got me hardest of all was Tom Thumb came and was like, let's go to Europe and we'll go back on tour.
Yeah, get the band back
and
together.
And what, he's 10 now?
No, he's 18 now.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
he's nearly a man grown.
Yeah, but I mean,
not really.
But Barnum was like, he didn't need me. He's the star. He kept touring without me. He's got a very successful, lucrative thing. But I think he was surprised by how loved he was.
Yeah.
And it was so sweet.
I wonder if part of it is the people of the city are like, well, we gotta have somebody to show us fucking weird shit.
Yeah.
We're getting bored here. We gotta have somebody show us exploitation of minorities and the disabled.
But that's an interesting point. So what is the fondness there? And the fondness, it turns out, is it's like a threefold thing, right? You have introduce something as fact, right? That's initial scandal. Then throw in doubt, and then leave it to the public to make up their own minds. So what you've done is actually made somebody feel like they learned something on their own terms, and there's value there.
There is.
Mm-hmm.
People love feeling like they figured something out.
Yeah, and they feel like
merman discovered off coast of East Bridgeport? Question mark.
I mean, he's basically, in a twisted way, he's kind of Q.
Right.
QAnon. He's like, hey, everybody.
I thought you meant from James Bond.
Yeah, you're in on my secrets.
I thought you meant from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Hey, nice. Wow, so many Qs.
But
I thought it was part of the LGBT.
Yeah.
Q.
He so you found out that the city really loved him, the public really loved him, and they knew he was a bit of a con artist, but he was always kind of winking at you the whole time anyway.
He's our con artist.
Right, exactly. And I was deeply moved by that. Just the city really showed up for him, and as much as they would for Spider-Man years later.
Yes.
If you want him, you got to get through me.
Yeah.
He's just a kid,
Yeah.
older than my son.
Right.
Yeah. What was the joke about the exit?
Oh, the egress.
The egress.
Yeah. Behold.
He gave them a joke they could play on people.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like when you're in 4th grade or whatever, and someone's like, "Hey, your epidermis is showing,"
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
and then you tell everybody the same.
Unless you saw that Simpsons episode.
Or you have a dick 4 on your forehead.
Mm.
John, you have a dick 4 on your forehead.
What's a dick for?
You fucking loser!
You don't even know?
You don't know what a dick's for?
Idiot.
I don't know. I still don't know.
You'll find out.
But he does begin the process of getting back on his feet, and like I said, it was not necessary for Tom to take him out on the road because Tom's the show. You know what I mean? But Barnum, of course, would have the advertising capabilities. He knew how to definitely turbo it up.
Yeah.
Turbo it up.
Yeah. So he also takes on speaking tours, and he started this thing called the Art of Money Getting.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the way you put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's simple. Anybody can learn it.
You want to get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. Did you already? Okay, nice.
Come on, dude.
I'm
a gay dad.
The thing was, ironically, he's like, I should really be doing a speak on the Art of Money Losing,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else was like, well, you had to get all that money to lose it.
Right.
He was like, good point, crowd.
Yeah.
Good point, unwashed masses.
And people really responded quite well to it. They were like, even though a lot of it was just common sense stuff, he had simple things in it like
spend less than you make.
Right.
Put the money in a safe place.
Right.
We'll call it a safe.
He was like, do one thing and do it well, don't live beyond your means. Like a pretty basic shit. But it was well received, and he was also doing a lot of temperance lectures on that. And he thought he was. He started going towards temperance, and he was just doing like beer and stuff like that. But he was still getting pretty wrecked on the regular, and he realized it when he was listening to somebody do a sermon on the quote unquote casual drinker, and he was like, "Oh, this is really about me."
A casual drinker will lie about a woman's age.
He went to his wife and eventually told her that he was going to stop altogether, and she started crying, and he was like, "I didn't know, you were so bothered by my drinking or whatever, and why didn't you tell me?" He was kind of like mad at her, and she was just like, "You got to be in the place to figure it out for yourself." You know what I mean?
She's right.
You can't like come at somebody and nag them into. But
no, because all this nagging makes me
right.
drink.
But he did like he was like telling himself like things like, "Oh well, I only drink when I'm with friends," but he's always with friends.
Right. I only drink when I'm breathing.
And that was the thing too. It's like he was always highly social. He always had people around. People would stay at Iranistan, and he would be like, "He's like, you're not even company. You're just treat it as if it's your house." You know what I mean?
Aww.
He's very, very generous.
You can piss on the floor if you want.
Yeah.
Fucking Iranistan. There's no fucking rules, dude.
The penthouse.
Yeah. I heard you can pee on the floor there. It's just saying. It's so stupid. Oh, I heard you can pee on the floor there. Like, yeah, that's what kind of place it is.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's
Cool.
It's sexual somehow.
Yeah.
So, at the museum, he kind of does like a whole new like reopening. We're doing everything new, and he's just getting back on his feet. And I think he introduced the first aquarium
To the world?
Well, he did.
America's first, and
He introduced the first mermaid, so he might as well.
yeah,
Try to tell.
got a couple of them.
Yeah, a few of them die on dry land first before he figured out they needed a tank.
Well, they're amphibious. You know what I mean? They can swing from vines.
They could drive. Yeah.
Yeah, they can drive. And he gets a wax museum going.
Cool.
Very cool.
There should be a mob museum called the Wax Museum.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
Mob Museum in Vegas is very good, by the way.
Yeah, in old Vegas.
Yeah, in the old post office.
Yeah, that's cool.
He gets Chang and Eng out of retirement, the Siamese twins.
Cool.
Didn't we do a profile on those guys?
I don't think we did.
Were they married? And yeah, Chang and I think we did. I think
sounds
I
familiar.
did Chang and Eng as
That
a
sounds
mini.
familiar.
Yeah, maybe as a mini.
A mini.
No, definitely not a full.
But they made a lot. They were very successful businessmen.
Yeah, they would have been coming out of retirement at this point.
Wow.
Hey,
And then in 1860, he introduced Zip the Pinhead.
Yeah. Zip the Pinhead. Now,
Yeah.
we're not talking about Hellraiser type of Pinhead.
No,
we're talking
no.
about one of these genetic abnormalities where
The
they,
little
like the
head.
guy from Freaks.
Yes, it's microcephalic.
Microcephaly.
Yes.
He is microcephalic.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So he was one of 6 children born to former slaves.
And he slipped right out with that tiny little head.
His body develops normally, head stays small, and there's kind of doubt whether he was disabled intellectually or not. But he certainly would act like it when he was in the exhibit. He
He was smart enough to do that.
Yeah, right.
He was billed as the what is it? And later Zip the Pinhead.
Okay. Well, so they figured it out.
Yeah.
Pinhead.
We had 25,000 people write in to say what it is.
The tiny McFuckface. That was second place.
So they gave him a furry suit.
Yeah, of course.
A furry suit
Yeah.
to make him seem animalistic,
Yeah.
or like not a 3-piece suit, but like a furry costume
Yes.
to make him seem
Oh.
more
Yeah.
wild.
Missing link is the idea.
Oh
Okay.
God, that is so offensive. Not
Yeah.
to me.
No.
Somebody.
Yeah, they had him kind of basically speaking gibberish language that him and Barnum kind of agreed on.
Oh, the syntax.
Yeah.
He has to
Grammar.
yeah,
It's to sign off on
it
it.
It was like proto Klingon.
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
thing. People still speak it today.
Not Link enough. More Link. How is Barnum? Is he just the go-to guy for
Yes.
odd folks? Because it's like he's not putting out notices, being like, "Hey, are you
He had a lot of
weirdo?"
scouts. He had a lot of scouts.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's something might be maybe say somewhat small potatoes attraction. He would see its potential, bring it to the big leagues.
Gotcha.
That sort of thing.
Seems like a good gig as a scout. We just drive around going, "Hey, where are the weird folks at?"
Well, there's a fucking town in Florida where people are cutting off their own fucking feet.
Yeah. He came in when he was 18, and he would have a 60-year career.
Pinhead?
Yeah.
Whoa, nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Graduated to Cenobite.
It was found that there's a tribe of missing links found in Africa, that he was one of them.
God, that is so stupid.
Yeah. Wild man.
But it's also like, capitalizing on the not scientific revolution, but the widespread acceptance and popularization of Darwinism
Yeah.
and evolution.
Very
So
much.
the idea that there could be a missing link is
Yeah.
it is playing on truths.
Yes.
Yeah, and the hottest thing of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this formula would play out again. It's introduced as fact, then doubters come through in the media, probably written by Barnum himself,
Mhm.
spurring more interest,
Yeah.
and then finally having people make up things themselves. And they would be told this tale, by some white safari guide explorer that claimed
Pit
to
helmet,
yes,
he's got a
yes,
monocle, twirly mustache.
And as he said things that would, kind of, let's say, be sort of disparaging or reductive, what Zip the Pinhead would be doing might be a little cute and make it seem like he actually understood and was smarter than the guy thought he was. So the audience is seeing a little bit of a, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, very, very interesting.
He's picking the guy's pocket or
Right, yeah.
tying his shoes, laces together, some shit like that.
Do you know like what kind of would these be, like the guy who's pretending to be hunting through? Or he's like pretending to go on a real safari, or would he just stand up there and say?
He would just stand up there and talk.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there I was.
Yeah.
With me elephant gun.
So yeah, but he's screeching in there. He's rattling the bars and stuff like that.
Of course.
Now, have you guys seen either the original or the Guillermo del Toro Nightmare Alley?
No.
No.
Okay. So, just briefly, it deals with the traveling circus and the freaks and the geeks and the mind reader, all that stuff, right? And in it, in the Guillermo del Toro version, Willem Dafoe plays the guy who runs this Carnival traveling show, and he explains to Bradley Cooper's character, who has worked his way up to being like an amazing cold reader mind guy from nothing. He's explaining how he gets the geeks to be geeks, and what he says is, I find, I go to these nightmare alleys. Wrong side of the tracks. I find the lowest down drunk that I can find.
Oh yeah.
And I tell him, hey, come work for me. I give him booze. I slowly start putting in laudanum or opium into
Keep them addicted.
Get them super addicted.
Yeah.
And then he keeps explaining that eventually, like, I'll say I get him to eat live chicken so I can give him more booze and food. Like,
yeah.
And it just works. And then, the whole twist of that movie is incredible. Both of them. Watch them. It's incredible.
Wait, both what?
Both Nightmare Alleys.
Oh, okay. The first
I think
one.
Tyrone Power was in the first one.
Wow.
And the second one was Bradley Cooper. And
yeah,
it's awesome. It's really fucked up. It's really, really fucked up. and it's got this great twist that it keeps from the original.
Yeah.
And
Tyrone Power, noted doo-doo queen.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to give him any opium to eat that.
And
shit.
now that's a twist.
That is a twist. This guy's been eating shit the whole time.
Was there any of that with PT, or was he more?
Oh no. This guy, PC made sure he had a house, got him a house. They had a lifelong friendship. It was very much the same as Tom Thumb. All these people always liked him.
So he didn't do. I mean,
and he paid them well.
Yeah.
Like they got to,
and that's kind of across the board.
yeah.
He was never one of these kind of super cynical exploitative.
Well, you have to say that there is inherent exploitation in for the rest of their life. That's what they are.
Yes, that's one type of exploitation.
Publicly.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, and the exploitation of taking advantage of the audience in a way. But I guess some of them that's what they're there for. But he didn't have any geeks, or he wasn't. No one was working for him
out of being addicted to drugs.
No. He I mean, that would really, especially now where he's going towards temperance and all that kind of stuff. He's like I said, he's really very kind of moralistic in certain ways, but he also was big on like just keep your word, just make a fair deal with people, and it was mutually beneficial for all of them, and. There was a fondness there, like I said, like among people like Tom Thumb, who then were able to help him out when he was in trouble. This guy Zip the Pinhead. His
Oh, I wonder if the comic Zippy is kind of based on him.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay.
he was named after an archetypal character in minstrel shows. That was Zip. Old-timey black guy term.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Zap and...
But also, like, he was, like, people would throw coins at him and stuff. Like, they would pelt him with stuff.
It's like, what? They're like, that guy looks weird. Let's fucking chuck stuff.
He loves
at him.
it.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's like strippers.
I mean, no wonder America took to baseball so easily. It's just...
What, with the throwing?
Yeah, just...
But, yeah, they said, like, oh, he eats raw meat and nuts and...
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, we're teaching him to eat bread and cake and stuff, you know?
Yeah, we're going to fuck his life up. He's living a paleo healthy diet. He's going to outlive all of you fucking non-pinheads. You big heads.
So he became
It's
more...
reverse phrenology.
As his career went on, he became more civilized in the act, and he would appear alongside Jim Tarver, who was like the tallest man in the world. These would be more Ringling Brothers.
Right.
Cuckoo the Bird Girl.
The bird girl.
I love her music.
In 1860, the Prince of Wales, Albert Edward, who Tom Thumb had met when he was 3.
Prince Albert.
He was coming through, and he had a photo taken with Zip
In New York?
in New York. Yeah, he was touring around Canada and stuff, and he
Went over the falls in a barrel. Ended up in New York.
he was like, where's I want to see where's Barnum himself? Like he was more excited. Like Barnum was such an attraction.
Mhm.
And
It's like Wonka.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got all these fucking Oompa Loompas
Yeah,
and
but
delicious
those-
fucking treats and drinks that make you fly.
but
Where's the guy?
but also it was because it was almost part of all of the acts. It was like you would show the exhibit, you would make outlandish claims, and then everybody would start going, "Where's Barnum?" And then Barnum would have to come out because it was like they'd been worked up into a fever pitch, and they were like, "Answer this," you know what I mean?
Answer for your crimes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he would say a bunch more,
Yeah.
vague and intriguing things, and it would just kind of keep the whole thing going.
Wait till you see the egress.
But they said in a museum claiming to have 850,000 curiosities that Barnum was the most interesting.
Mhm. 850,000.
And one.
Yeah, it's fucking 849,000 were grains of sand from Mars.
Exactly, yeah.
His manager, Zip's manager throughout his whole career was this guy named Captain OK White.
I'm sorry. And what part of the show is he?
He was just his manager and his best friend.
Okay, White.
Oh, Captain OK White. And he gave Zip a tuxedo. He really treasured that, and he really made sure that he didn't get taken advantage of financially.
Okay.
It makes it easy to end the conversation.
Okay.
Captain, okay, wait.
in his older years, he didn't want to do the circus anymore, Zip, and he was like, I'm just going to stay in Coney Island.
Nice.
And
They came to him.
Rode the roller coaster 20 times a day.
Mhm.
a Sunday afternoon in 1925, years and years, far-flung future from where I'm talking about, pre-Civil War, Barnum timeline. Zip, the Pinhead, hears this little girl crying for help, and she's drowning,
Oh my god.
and he saved her.
What?
Yeah, he swam out to rescue her.
Cool.
I mean, he's got that aerodynamic,
Yeah, really.
dynamic, kind of like a porpoise. He can just cut right through the surf.
Yeah. Fend off any attackers too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he can, you know how dolphins hit the sharks with their bottlenose?
Yeah.
He
He
did
really
that.
did. He zipped through the water.
And that was at Coney Island?
Yeah, it was in Coney Island.
God, that's so cool.
And the next year he caught bronchitis, and that was the end of him. He wouldn't stop performing, so he wasn't taking it easy, and he died at Bellevue Hospital in New York.
Damn.
Only save that girl, man.
Yeah.
They think that in
60 years, or what, 40 years later? You're talking about pre-Civil War to the 20s?
yeah, his 67-year long career.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah.
he's an old man and he saves this girl.
Yeah,
Damn.
And they said
Didn't get a big head about it.
they think in his lifetime that he had entertained over 100 million people. 67-year long career.
And there's no broadcast.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy, right? Fucking nuts.
Take that, Mr. Beast. Fucking dork. You're selling Lunchables and Pop-Tarts. Go fuck yourself. Yeah.
We're gonna
I got a beef with Mr. Beast.
We'll have to save that for the Patreon.
we're gonna take a little break, and after that, I'm gonna introduce you to his next curiosity.
Uh-oh.
Be right back, folks. And we're back.
If I may say just a quick point of clarification, I got to give a shout out to my lovely fiance Marcella that the
Beautiful.
PP scored. Yes, beautiful, lovely,
Mhm.
devoted mother.
Incredible.
Yes. End of list.
Beginning of a too long of a list of qualifications. She gave me she punched up the PP squirtine.
Oh,
Yeah,
very nice,
'cause
Marcella.
She was the PP part.
yes.
The squirtine I pretty much stole from somewhere else. So basically, gotta give credit to her. So if I want to eat,
Smart.
All right, we're gonna talk about this guy. His name's Commodore Nutt.
that's my name too.
Every time you go out, people always shout.
His full name was George Washington Morrison Nutt.
2 T's?
2 T's.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with peanut butter. Totally different. George Washington.
Yeah, man, they sure did love George Washington, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of a big part of America.
Yeah.
Big guy. Actually, was a big guy.
It's 6'2".
Yeah, strong guy.
Real
so,
hair.
Yeah, slave
Commodore, he was a dwarf.
Commodore Nutt?
Yeah. Very much like Tom Thumb, a little shorter. Also,
True dwarf?
it would have been the same, like kind of
Little
like
guy.
yeah, taking on childlike appearance.
Like Hasbullah. I think we talked about him.
Yes.
And once again, you got to put him in some kind of military regalia. So it's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Looks a lot like Tom Thumb.
yeah, that's very Tom Thumb. I mean, what's
the deal with?
What's the psychology? What is the putting them in military regalia?
It's cute.
Yeah. Because they're
it's like dressing a little baby like a sailor.
exactly.
But then also too, it's like what stories do you want to tell, and don't forget Barnum is also like he's mythologizing the short history of America.
Mm-hmm.
He's like it's like a thing of that is sort like it's all his name's George Washington. You know what I mean?
It's a Wild West show-esque sort of thing.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Boy, that's dumb, huh?
So his dad was like 6'6", 250 pounds. You know what I mean?
And disappointed.
One day, son. One day.
The milkman was a dwarf.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they were English ancestry. He was in like a small circus in Manchester.
Small circus?
Yeah.
Circus for ants.
And so he was, touring the New England countryside. Barnum hears about him. He was just getting like a nickel to see this kid. And he was also like sharp and witty, you know.
Commodore Nutt.
Commodore Nutt. So it was like another thing like Tom Thumb, where like there was so much charm, you know,
Untapped potential.
Mm-hmm. It's not just a clever name.
and they like it was also like a lot of it was a lot of self-effacing jokes, you know, like when Tom Thumb bailed out.
I tried to buy a house, but I came up a little short.
Yeah. Tom Thumb when he wrote to Barnum to help him out, he said, "If I can help in my own small way."
Nice.
I love that.
But
It's a tall order.
and so he gets a 5-year contract in 1861.
Gosh, that's so long ago. But also not really.
Yeah.
And he takes some siblings along too, and that's part of the contract that they'll have like room and board and food.
And they're normal size.
No, his other brother is also a dwarf too.
No way. But
Yeah.
he didn't make even Brigadier General or anything like that.
No.
Jeff.
It started at $12 per week with increases every year. They were making $30 a week in their last year of their contract, and 10% of the sales from their souvenir books and photographs.
That's cool.
Wow. Nice.
And so Barnum does this really smart thing where he brings attention to him after he's signed him with a campaign saying that he's trying to sign him, so that other people start vying, and like it creates just buzz about like,
yeah.
I gotta have this dwarf, daddy.
Mhm.
Get me that tiny nut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it has other promoters throwing things at him. Meanwhile, he's already signed, and
Yeah.
but it just creates this furor,
Right.
you know.
and it also is good for the Nut brand.
Mhm.
Right.
But should he ever decide to move on, he is.
Yeah.
It's such a counterintuitive thing to do, as somebody who, you know, for lack of a better word, owns your business,
Mm-hmm.
is to be like, listen, you're worth a lot more than I'm paying you.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is kind of brilliant.
Yeah, he then like leaks to the press that he had to pay $30,000 for him, and so they started calling him the 30K Nut.
Now,
you
Aaron,
ever have one of those?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it took me a couple of years, but it was about 10.
Yeah. You got a couple of little fucking Commodore Nuts walking around. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So Barnum makes him this little carriage that's shaped like a walnut.
No. Like a tiny little man
Like-
Cinderella.
Yeah, he comes out of a little walnut. It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
Come on, little nut coming out of a nut.
Dude, I gotta see it.
It's too cute, right? It was pulled by little Shetland ponies.
And this is him in a nutshell. Was that one of their?
No, I don't believe it.
Just for the 1862, $12 is about $374 today. So that's a pretty fucking
$374.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that money's going further back then.
it's going further.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama.
So a lot of people thought it was Tom Thumb in disguise, that the Barnum was
We
fucking
did-
them over.
Mhm. It did look similar.
But Tom had actually like become a little bit more rotund in the ensuing years.
Oh, he let the fame get to him.
Well, I think part of the thing with dwarfism is that you have you keep the same size stomach, so
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of place to put. You have to eat very, very light
Yeah.
when you're a dwarf. Otherwise, you'll just put on a ton of weight.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
yeah. You gotta have a good time though.
Yeah, you have a, when you say same size stomach, what you mean is adult, normal, human size
Right.
stomach. So
Yes.
you still have
The hunger.
the hunger, the
Oh,
appetite.
and
like,
nowhere to
okay.
put it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get that stomach staple.
Mm-hmm.
So, he asked Tom Thumb to come home and stand side by side with him to prove that it's not him. Nutt himself loved the confusion, and they were then billed as the two smallest men, greatest curiosities living, etc.
Greatest curiosities living.
Thumb and Nutt on the road, back again.
Some people would go see the two of them together and still say that Commodore Nutt was Tom Thumb in disguise.
Yeah, because this fucking...
Yeah, this guy looks like shit.
I don't know who that other guy is.
Dude, it's fucking Zip the Pinhead with a mask.
There's only his head sticking through the floor.
Yeah.
So he applies to be a cop, and they give him the job, give him a uniform.
No.
Yeah.
In New York? In New York, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
And
So
so
beating the shit out of me.
Every case is a nut case with this guy.
And so, he said he just got a job with the Broadway squad, and he's got extraordinary powers to arrest and take people upstairs.
He's got to walk upstairs just to handcuff people. We're taking you to the Nut House.
What year does the Civil War start? 61?
No, 64.
64?
Isn't it? Or is that when it ends? God, this is so depressing. I blame public schools.
Yeah, okay, 61 to 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Very good, John.
so in 1962, Lincoln asks...
1862.
1862, sorry. Barnum is
In 1962, Lincoln says, "Stop fucking in my bedroom."
Yeah. He says, Kennedy, you're going to be shot. Watch out!
Check your head.
He's...
You're going to be shot in the theater. Wait, hold on. You're going to ride in a Lincoln and get shot. You're going to get shot in a Lincoln. I'm going to get shot in the theater. Oswald's going to hide in the theater. Our names have the same letters. Fuck.
Your secretary.
There's a conspiracy. I don't know.
So
Our heads are going to be on coins, dude.
It's going to be worth it.
you know how they get there? They blow them apart.
Pinhead, you know what's up. Small target.
About. What else? So Lincoln asks Barnum and Nutt to come to the White House, right?
It's a riddle if I ever heard one.
Yeah.
Two Jews walking. I don't know.
So Barnum and Nutt go down there. It's the fucking Civil War. There's a cabinet meeting going on. Lincoln says, interrupt the meeting if Commodore Nutt shows up. This fucking little rascal.
Yeah.
Gonna climb out of a fucking nut with these little Shetland ponies.
The ambassador from Nutlandia is here. Pause the fighting. We've agreed to a ceasefire. The man from the Nut delegation has something to say.
So fucking Lincoln's like, interrupt the meeting if these guys show up. It's a cabinet meeting during wartime.
Yeah.
They just want to see this little guy. Nutt marches in there. He goes up to the Treasury Secretary. He's like, are you the one spending all my taxes? And the War Secretary goes, no, that's me.
Oh my
All right? They're like, everybody's laughing their fucking balls off.
All for what? A bunch of black guys. Yeah. Dude.
And
Little nuts, man.
so Nutt, the secretary says, no, I'm the one spending it. And Nutt says, well, it's a good cause anyhow, and I'm sure it'll all be all
It is a good
It'll
cause.
all be all right in the end, he said.
Well,
They needed some cheer back then. In
it was a
62.
sad time.
62.
A very sad time.
So he wears the naval uniforms and stuff. So as he's leaving, Honest Abe,
We're sending you undercover into the South.
he says, if your fleet is ever under fire, he's like, make sure you wade ashore. And Commodore looks up his big fucking legs and he goes, I think you could do that better than me, Mr. President.
Wait, they're all doing the Goodfellas. They're all doing the Goodfellas laugh there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's fucking crazy.
I love you guys.
So what happened with Commodore Nutt was there was this woman named Lavinia Bump, right? Dwarf. And she was clocked by she was a school teacher and same sort of dwarf, but she was cute. And I think Barnum billed her as like the Queen of Beauty, you know?
Tiny.
Yeah, this is Lavinia Bump.
Oh, yeah, she kind of does look like Hasbullah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like that.
Hezbollah?
No,
What?
Hasbullah. You know the guy who was always on those fucking podcasts, the little Chechen guy.
Yeah. So
Queen of Beauty. Okay.
Commodore Nutt, you know,
Lives up to his name.
he falls in love with her.
Of course. Look at her.
He's like, look at us, two famous dwarves.
We're two walls and a nut.
And
Huh?
she just kind of thinks he's like a sweet boy. You know what I mean?
He's
And-
like, well, what about that pinhead?
Yeah.
no, at some point, it maybe perhaps at Barnum's urging or encouragement at least, she falls for Tom Thumb. And
Oh boy.
yeah, so there's this little dwarf like love triangle going down.
Hell yeah.
And
Now, what rank does Tom have at this point?
he's general.
General.
Yes, a general, yeah.
Yeah.
She's got her pick of the litter here.
Mhm.
Between a Commodore and a general.
It's
Land or
it's the
water.
general rule of thumb.
Yeah.
The fucking so
Dude, that should be his autobiography, The Rule of Thumb.
yeah
Ha
yeah how I generally rule.
ha!
No, it was the life and times of General Tom Thumb and the various stories that went along with his life.
It's too long of a title.
That's
It's
how they
never
did
gonna
it.
Play.
That's how they did it.
So he was he had like an adolescent crush on her basically on the Queen of
Commodore
Beauty.
Nutt did.
Yes, on Lavinia.
What was their age difference? Negligible? Does it not matter when you're 2 feet tall?
She was 21. And let's see how old was the Commodore here.
Old enough to serve.
Yeah, because this is like 1862, so he's gonna be about 14.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Barnum is also telling Lavinia like, "Hey, Tom's fucking rich." You know what I mean? Like,
Look how fat he is. This guy
he's
eats
not
like a
that
man
big.
10 times his size.
it's not that big. But she falls in love with him, and Barnum is like, "All right, we're gonna have this.
They tour.
We're gonna have a big dwarf wedding."
Yeah.
And so Lavinia's sister,
Tiny.
yeah, Lavinia's
We're
sister,
going to have the biggest little wedding in the world.
That's right. That's it.
Lavinia's sister was also a dwarf,
And, okay, all right, here we go.
Now we're
Here.
talking.
so she'd be the maid of honor. Barnum came to Commodore Nutt and was like, "Will you be Tom's best man?"
Might get
And
to fuck her sister.
and he said no.
God damn it, Nutt.
Scandal.
Yeah, and
Prick.
Yes,
then,
it's the
then
Navy
Tom
guys.
came to him, and he said yes.
Aw,
And yeah, it was very sweet.
that's sweet.
Yeah,
Plus, you
and
might get to fuck her. Us little guys, we gotta stick together, you know?
but Barnum was like, "Oh, you changed your mind," and he was like, "It wasn't for you to ask me." He's like, "When the appropriate person asked me, then I said yes."
And he's
That's,
right.
yeah, that's
Of course,
He's very,
yeah.
very
Yeah.
right. That's very sweet.
It is. So they were yeah, then they had this the big wedding ceremony, and that was of course open to the public in a church. But Barnum sold tickets to the reception for $75 a head.
Yeah.
Nice.
What if you had a pinhead? Was it like 64 cents?
Yeah, it was less. And yeah, it was
Dwarves pay full price because they got those stomachs.
right. Yeah.
You're gonna get a lot.
Yeah, the buffet is still going to be depleted.
Fucking fat little shit.
Jesus.
What's going on with him?
He's just excited.
Man, half their body weight in
Yeah.
fucking carved roast beef.
But yeah, it was a huge, and so this was the event that knocked the Civil War off the front page in 1863 was the big Nutt.
Stop the presses,
Yeah.
brother against brother. That's yesterday's news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No fighting today.
These two little fucks again.
Yeah. Thumb and bump. Get it on.
Thumb and bump.
And Nutt sitting in the corner in the cuck chair.
Jerking off into a fucking half-eaten walnut shell. Saving it for later.
Oh my god.
Making one of these geeks eat it. Pinhead climaxes because of it. His fucking pops his top.
Oh my god.
He should have written for the papers back
I'm
then.
thinking about going back in time.
And Lavinia and Tom would be wed forever. And she was kind of, you know, like I said, she was like a school teacher before all this shit started. And I think it was hard for her to embrace public life, but she knew, she was like, I belong to the public. You know what I mean?
Look at me.
I'm a school teacher.
I'm the queen of beauty. Fucking idiot.
Yeah, fucking.
Man, can you imagine being in one of those little schoolhouses and your teacher's this fucking tiny little...
Yeah, she
And
had...
she'd smack the hell out of you, too.
Dude, whip one of them rulers.
They would go to meet Lincoln after the wedding as well, the couple. And they said Lincoln held her hand as if it was a robin's egg. You know what I mean? Like he was just very, very gentle with her
He's a gentleman.
when shaking her hand.
Probable homosexual. That's what they say.
That's what they say?
Yeah, that's why they're called log cabin Republicans.
That's what they wish.
No, they say Lincoln might have been a homosexual.
That's
So
cool.
So he held her hand very daintily, as homosexuals do, without exception. Every homosexual is the same, right, guys?
She would be married to him until 1883,
Uh-huh.
and Tom died of a stroke. And that was so she lived until 1919, and she remarried another little Italian guy.
Joe
Count Primo Magri was his name.
Count. She went from a general to a count.
Yeah,
She bypassed the Commodore, stepped right over that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Went to a count.
right.
Primo Magri. Now, what can you tell me about this little?
This little scamp.
Yeah,
Um,
little Bambino.
yeah, she was. Oh, he was 2 inches shorter than Charles Stratton, aka Tom Thumb.
But also like 3 inches longer.
He had big feet.
He had a twin brother, also a dwarf, Giuseppe.
And they fucked around.
Jesus.
He went by Baron Magri.
That's royalty for you, you know?
You almost got me to spit out.
I know.
The Count and the Baron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, that is so ridiculous.
While the military and aristocratic titles that P.T. Barnum gave his dwarves were fantasy titles, it is claimed that the Count was given his title by Pope Pius IX.
Fuck no.
Yeah, it was claimed. See, Aaron?
Also,
See?
Probably
People
true.
were saying.
Probably true. A lot of people are saying Pope himself.
He appeared in a silent film in 1915 alongside his wife Lavinia, which is the Lilliputians.
Lilliputians.
Lilliputians
From
courtship.
Gulliver's Travels.
Mm.
Yes.
The Lilliputians are the tiny little fucks that tie him down with all them strings, you know?
Yeah.
Good idea.
He was called Uncle Tiny Mite in that.
Uncle Tiny Mite?
Yes.
M-I-T-E?
Yes.
Huh.
But you know,
Did they ever do Uncle Tom Thumb's Cabin?
I know that he did do Uncle Tom's Cabin in
They have to have called it Uncle Tom Thumb's Cabin and put that little tiny guy in blackface.
in blackface.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Lavinia would be buried next to Tom, and her headstone, even though she was married to the Count for like a really fucking long time, like 1915 from 1883.
The Count loved Tom Thumb, too.
But she was
Who
buried.
didn't?
She was buried next to Tom Thumb, and her headstone only says his wife, which is very, very sweet.
It is.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That sucks for the Count.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he was cool with it.
Who died first between Lavinia and the Count?
Lavinia did.
Yeah, well, the Count probably fucking remarried some fucking human-sized broad, and she got buried next to him, maybe.
Not by much. He died in 1920.
Okay.
Of a broken heart.
Yeah, she was 1919. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's really getting cucked by the afterlife there, huh?
It's quite a
Posthumous cucking.
yes. Yeah.
It's
But
that.
you gotta respect it.
Yeah.
You gotta respect it.
You have to.
Marcel, if you ever do that, I will fucking kill you.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
If you get married next to some other dude before me, it's over, man. It's over. I mean, I'll be dead, or you'll be dead, or one of us will be dead, but like, it's not cool.
It sounded like you said married.
No. I mean, if she,
Buried.
Yeah, buried.
So yeah, he did. He became very much pro-union in the performances. It was like he was very much a Lincoln man. And
This is now Barnum.
Barnum, yeah. When he was sort of like taking on people that were pro-secession in Connecticut, his home state.
Mm-hmm.
He would not really like incite violence towards anybody or whatever, but he very much would take a stand against them very publicly. And the museum itself, I think, would be potentially under threat by anti-union people,
Right.
and they would eventually start a fire there.
No shit.
Yeah, it didn't get very far though.
Because he had the fire annihilator.
Yeah, and they exploded all over the place to put the fire out.
They exploded before they could set fire.
That's right.
Killed them all.
Yeah.
He also had like a Pauline Cushman, who was a Union spy. He had her doing speaking there.
That's cool.
So that was really cool. So yeah, they started.
Public speaking. Check it out, man. I'm infiltrating all these assholes, man. They have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, by the time the news gets there, I'll be long gone.
She's a character.
Yeah. There's a
lot of women spies for the Union.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
certainly
Yes.
worthy of
and
profile.
and for the Confederacy too,
Man, fuck them.
but true. I agree with that.
More like confederacy. Am I right, John?
No,
How you refer to women colloquially?
Not backing that up at all.
But they were pro-slavery, John.
Okay, whatever, dude.
You know how I feel about women Nazis. I'll punch the fuck out of them.
I do know that. It's brave of you.
Thank you. They can what? Catch these hands is what they can do.
So yeah, like I said, he was fine with slavery, anti-abolitionist, and then had to sort of change of heart, sort of after the Kansas-Nebraska Act,
Which is?
I believe it was
1854.
I believe that was after the Missouri Compromise, and one of the states wanted to be let in as a slave state, but they were in the wrong geographical position.
They weren't above the Mason. They weren't below the Mason.
Yeah, it kind of
around the Mason-Dixon line?
It basically repealed the Missouri Compromise of 1820, and it brought up more national tensions. And the conflict's known as Bleeding Kansas. So
And then Mississippi's burning.
Right, and then it became something about you can vote to the people in the state can vote to make it a slave state, but then you'd get all these people coming in from out of state to vote.
Dude, what?
It was every time there was a chance.
This is in your great grandparents' lifetime.
yeah, it's crazy.
Every time there was a chance
great-great.
for the South to break a contract they made about slavery, they did it, and then complained when they were pushed against.
God damn it.
Yeah, he would.
But also, I know this is I will table that for a Patreon. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. So that fire was not a problem with the sympathizers. But then it did finally burn to the ground in 1865.
The museum
The museum
in Manhattan.
in Manhattan.
That's bullshit.
And it was a fire of unknown origin, so it could have been planted. But, like, this thing is, like, employing, I think, 150 people.
Fuck.
And don't forget, you got, like, whales in the aquarium.
No.
And they, the fire department did like deliberately break their tanks to let the water come down to
put out the
put out the fire,
and
yeah.
you had to sacrifice the whales.
Yeah, a lot of animals perished. And I think one tiger got like out on the street and the cops shot it.
Well, it's New York,
Yes,
man.
yeah. I mean, the tiger.
the
didn't
tiger
pay-
hopped his subway fare.
That's right.
Fucking assholes.
But there was also, I mean, among all the fake stuff,
The tiger's got a gun.
it's got a claw. But there was also probably real historical stuff in there too.
Oh
right?
yeah, there would have been, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and
Well, sometimes a whale's got to die, dude. The whale wasn't happy anyway. You probably put it out of its misery.
Yeah, I mean, probably, yeah.
so he immediately makes plans to like the next day he gets into the hotel across the street and holds like a press conference, and he's like just saying like, I'm gonna build the new biggest and best museum that you've ever fucking
Yeah.
seen.
Just to spite you fucking assholes.
And he's like, I'm gonna go further uptown, and he's able to just start getting. He puts his acts in a theater so they can keep working, keep bringing in money,
And staying employed.
Mhm.
Smart.
and he does go further uptown. Now, this guy that he hates in the New York Herald, the editor, he wants to buy the land where the museum burned down and use it for his offices, and he makes like a simple error of contract writing,
Clerical error in your favor.
and
Collect $500.
and Barnum is able to rebuild this new museum so fast with so many new acts and new artifacts and humbugs and everything else because
Ashes of the Pinhead.
because the guy from the newspaper that hates him the most entered into an agreement with Barnum where he paid $200,000 more than he was supposed to, and
For this formerly Barnum-owned land.
yes, and so Barnum was able to like. Instead of having like $300,000, he had fucking $500,000. So he's able to put this new museum together. Bam, 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 bam. And the newspaper guy is like, "Hey, wait!" And the guy's like, and Barnum was like, "I'm not fucking like redoing my shit because you
fucked up.
Also,
Yeah.
you've been talking shit about me for decades."
Yeah. Also, it's in your interest for me to get back in business, so you have something to fucking write about, you
Right.
fucking asshole.
But as a means of punishment, the editor of the New York Herald then won't carry Barnum ads. Barnum hits back again by getting all of the museum people to agree not to advertise in that paper. So
I mean, who is more clout?
So all of the ads go to the other New York papers, and he gets none of that ad revenue from all of the museums in town.
Oh my god.
So
Now it's just fucking peep show booths, glory holes, advertising in the Herald.
Pizza places within them.
And so a few years later, he runs for office
Barnum.
in Connecticut. Yeah, for Bridgeport.
The city he built.
Yeah. Well, he was doing more East Bridgeport.
Sorry, East.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But he
I get confused with all these jurisdictions.
The
He's
train
actually-
track runs right through. there.
actually ran against his cousin, another man named Barnum.
Barnum v. Barnum.
And
Who do you vote for?
First to speak is Mr. Barnum.
so yeah, he was going for the Connecticut General Assembly. He was elected as a Republican representing Fairfield.
PT.
And he exposed a secret that would raise fares 20% on the railroad from Connecticut to New York.
He exposed a secret?
Yeah. He had spies kind of uncover that they were talking about raising fares, and he,
I see.
and he exposed it before it
okay.
could come out.
First,
He
I
said but the Republic, P.T. Barnum, he leaked that my opponent or the powers that be are planning to raise
Exactly,
fares.
yeah.
Therefore, vote for me because I won't do it.
not that he exposed like a peep show along the way.
Well, which he maybe
Maybe,
did. I
yeah.
don't know. People are saying.
He said during the ratification of the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, quote, "A human soul that God has created and Christ died for is not to be trifled with. It may tenant the body of a Chinaman, a Turk,
It may what?
tenant
Oh, like rent
Mm.
Yes.
the body of.
It may tend into the body of a Chinaman, a Turk, an Arab, or a Hottentot. It is still an immortal spirit.
Well, that is, for the time, progressive.
Yeah.
Especially because I didn't think the Hottentots were.
What the fuck's a Hottentot?
I didn't realize they had their own country.
It's South Africa, I think, was like
or even if that had tools.
Or even what it was.
I think it was a disparaging term in South Africa for Africa.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I believe that's where it comes from.
Even they have souls.
I thought it meant floozy.
So it's as progressive as we are for the time. Listen, man, we eat fucking cows and pigs and shit. One day we're gonna feel like fucking animals.
Especially when they're eating us.
At this time, he also acknowledged that he owned slaves when he lived in the South, and he said,
Barnum?
He said, I whipped my slaves, and he said,
Jesus.
I ought to have been whipped myself 1,000 times for this.
I ought to be whipped for what I did.
I ought to have been whipped 1,000 times for this. And he said, but then I was a Democrat, one of those nondescript Democrats who are northern men with southern principles.
Which there were a lot of.
Yes.
Wait, but I don't remember. When did he live in the South and own slaves?
Not for very long. It would have been kind of like on just like sort of on some of like the publicity tours for other early acts.
Oh, okay.
He just had property down there, probably as like a halfway point on a tour.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
And
the property comes
and
with
his
a couple
period-
of guys.
His period of slave ownership was very brief.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he did admit to that in his book. So he was elected to the Connecticut legislature, the next 4 Connecticut legislature sessions, and succeeded Senator Horace S. Ferry. And so yeah, he was he campaigned for Congress in 1867 and lost to his third cousin, William Henry Barnum. He served as the mayor of Bridgeport and improved the water and gaslighting and stuff like that.
Well, certainly the gaslight.
Yeah. He was telling all sorts of people fake shit. He was gonna think they were crazy. The gaslighting here is the best.
Yeah.
You want to make your wife feel like she's crazy? Come to me. Come to Bridgeport.
And so, one day he's reading the paper with these 2 lady friends.
Together, want the same paper?
Well, they were Siamese twins.
All right, you get E6, I'll get E5. Then we'll do the crossword together.
No, he's reading the paper in front of them.
Because ladies can't read.
Picks up a newspaper. And
I'm not allowed to read, not can't. Sorry.
And he reads, Barnum Museum burns down. Tons of animals lost. And this is how he finds out about the 3rd fire of the American Museum.
The new one that he just built.
Yeah.
These fucking cocksuckers.
And it was this time he was like, he couldn't bounce back from it.
His only nemesis.
Fame.
So
he never had a fire eater with him.
The thing is, the only thing left to do is take this show on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Can't burn that down that many times.
Yeah. So that's where we're going to leave it for now. And we're going to wrap this up next time on the Barnum Part 3.
Wow, the Bark Knight Rises.
I don't know what it's going to be called.
It's the Bark Knight Rises.
Okay.
It's not Barnum and Robin.
Okay.
It's Bark Knight Rises, dude.
All right.
Cool. It's not the Penguin. Now on HBO Max streaming.
The Penguin?
Yeah, it's streaming on HBO Max with
Terrible.
Colin Farrell
God.
as the Penguin, Oswald Cobb.
Cobb.
We're going to talk about that on the Patreon.
We will. I have a few things I want to talk about on the Patreon. Folks,
Great.
Join us on the Patreon, $5 a month for now. We might be going up to 7 soon. We have an extra episode per week over there. And I got a few notes of things I wanted to talk about.
No.
I do.
Sick.
I do. So gentlemen, we'll meet here again next week. And we will we'll wrap up the whole saga of Barnum, and then
I'm loving it.
we'll get a big round table going about what do we think of this guy? anyway?
Who is this man?
I mean,
So join us next time, folks. I'm going to say goodnight. My name is John Fahey.
I am PB Sperman.
Microsoft.
Good night, everybody. We love you. Good night.